The first tip I want to share with you is to actually sign up for the right exam. If you head over to cdmp.info/exams and you scroll down, you see the different purchase options available. There's a standard version and there's an ESL version. If we head over to the frequently asked questions, you can see that currently all exams are only available in English. But if English is not your first language, you can enroll in the English as a second language ESL version, and you're given 20 minutes extra to complete the exam. The second tip I want to share with you is to actually enroll right away. There's two main benefits to this. First of all, you've already paid, so you may as well stick to it and commit. Secondly, you'll be given access to a question bank of over 200 questions, so you can get an idea of what the actual questions on the exam will look like. It is worth noting, though, that there's a new exam enrollment policy, and starting off August 1st, which is past this video's recording date, any exam purchased on or after this date must be taken within 12 months from the date of enrollment. Heading over to the practice exam page, you can see the attempts I've done in the past. The first attempt was really opening up just the questions, having a look at them, see how the words are formulated, what the typical answer structure looks like. And then once I scored consistent 80-90 plus percentages, I was confident that I would be fine on the actual exam. On the exam, I believe I got roughly 8 questions that also appeared in the question bank. So if you actually know the answer to them right away, it's a huge time saving. Do note that you have unlimited attempts on these, but if you are taking the ESL version on the actual exam, the extra time will not be included in here. So it's a good practice because you'll be short on time, but it will prepare you even better for the actual exam. Next, I read the book in a completely different order as is in the book. And that is because the chapters, the knowledge areas that are being covered in the book don't have equal weighting on the exam, which means some are more important and will have more questions popping up than others. Over here, you can actually see the weightings. So data management process, for example, has roughly on average a 2% weighting, which means on 100 questions, you'll get roughly 2 questions. More important questions are related to the data governance field, master reference data management, data modeling and design, data quality, data warehousing and BI, and also metadata management. Now, I did start out reading data management process and then also data governance because they actually lay out some fundamentals for chapters later on. Additionally, when you're reading through the book, I also highly encourage you to try and link concepts. If you're looking at the data lifecycle management examples, it will pop up throughout the book. So try and see if you can link some things. Similar things apply when you see things like data architectures being explained. Up next is also quite important. You want to order the right book. I have a physical copy and a digital copy. For the exam, I actually recommend that you use the digital copy as it allows you to use the search functionalities, which I'll discuss later. But I simply liked having a physical version because it allowed me to sit outside, read a book, and I just really like the tangible books. Now it is worth noting actually on the book, there isn't a yellow sign. And if you look at the page displayed here, which is technicspub.com/dmboc, there is one with a yellow star. And if you click on it, you'll see that it's a revised edition. If you go through the things that have been changed most, it's mainly related to chapter 13, which is about data quality. And it is also worth noting that if you're taking the exam as of October, those changes will also be reflected in the exam questions. If you are just starting out in data management or data governance, the DMBOK might be quite a big thing to read because it's well over 600 pages. Now, there might actually be a better alternative available for you to read, and it's called Navigating the Labyrinth, an executive guide to data management, and it's written by Laura Sebastian Coleman. Laura was actually also the production editor for the DAMA DMBOK 2, which came out in 2017. Next, you may also want to consider joining your DAMA International local chapter. If you don't have any local chapters near you available, speaking of Laura, she's actively involved in DAMA New England. And I've seen great materials from their end. So if you don't know which one to join, reach out to them. They can help you guide through the course materials, but they can also help you put the theory into practice. The last additional resource I want to show you is the Data Strategy Pro's CDMP Fundamentals bundle. It consists of 75 emails packed with information discussing the actual content, either delivered to you over a time span of 3 months or with instant access, which is what I personally preferred because I like to study on my own pace. But if you are someone who needs guidance, the 90-day plan might be your thing. There's also a 30-page summary of all of the chapters, highlighting the key concepts and also writing it kind of in simpler terms sometimes, helping me put things into perspective and also put them into practice. They're also great to get you to highlight stuff in your book. So the terms that were listed in there were definitely terms that I highlighted or put a sticky note in for the book. You also get additional 150 practice exam questions. Now I found those questions to be on the easier end compared to the actual practice exams and the actual exam also, because the wording was very much related to what I could find in the book. So you would be able to use the search function and almost come up with the results instantaneously. Whereas on the actual exam, words might be slightly different. They might use synonyms or rephrase certain words. But overall, the exams are still, the practice exam is still very much worthwhile because it highlighted some gaps in my knowledge. You can also head over to YouTube and look up the Data Strategy Professionals YouTube channel. They publish free videos available here where they go over the content covered in a knowledge area in a chapter of the book, and then they have a group discussion about it. There's always interesting tips and tricks being shared in those study sessions, so I highly advise you to partake in one. Lastly, you can also just give her a follow on LinkedIn. Nicole actually has a broad network of data management and data governance professionals within her network, and seeing those feeds pop up on my LinkedIn page actually helped me put some of the theoretical concepts into practice. Last but not least, probably the most important tip I will give you throughout this whole video. If you're using the PDF version of the book and you're on a Windows machine, Adobe Acrobat Reader is probably your best bet. Now, some people may find that there are some performance issues with it because it's quite a big book and it needs to scan through a whole lot of pages to find your keywords, but we'll find some solutions to that in a moment. There's a few tips I want to share with you right away. So when you click on View and you go to this thing over here, which should translate to enable the new Acrobat Reader, but you should actually disable it. It will get rid of all the latest updates with the AI features, and you'll be able to focus on just exactly what you need here. Secondly, we're gonna change some of the settings, and you can do that by clicking here and then hit Preferences or use the shortcut Ctrl-K. If you scroll all the way down, you'll find the search thing, and what I need to make sure of is that you have this one ticked on, which means that it will search faster. Who knew that this option was in here, because I didn't. Anyways, if it's not on by default, you should definitely tick that box. I also increased the cache memory to 1000 megabytes. I'm not sure if that's going to be doing anything, but I would rather take the bet. The next thing I want to share with you is how I found some of the answers to the questions rapidly. And I did so by adding 451 comments that gave me structure within the book. Now, you need to be smart about how you add these comments and what you put into them. If you are listing synonyms, for example, I always use the / without any spaces in between them and put them in a common box. Naming conventions, you should know that's important within data quality, right? Try and put some of the definitions in your own words. Think about how you will be looking up this exact definition within the book. For example, a question may pop up regarding the type of different data stewards. So one of the comments that I added was type of data steward or data steward activities, so you can see what they're doing. If you're having a hard time trying to decide on where to put a comment, you may want to go and look back at the fundamental notes from Data Strategy Professionals, as those lay out a quite nice foundation. If you are noticing performance issues using this search functionality on the top right, then you may want to actually open up the regular search window, type in your term, hit Ctrl+C to copy, and paste it in there. It's faster because when you start typing in the box on the top right, Acrobat Reader will actually start searching for the words that have already been typed, and sometimes it can cause a freeze, which is definitely something you don't want. A last feature is this button on the top left corner, which allows you to look at the pages in one glance. So if you're looking for images, for example, you'll be able to scroll through and they'll pop up nicely, and you'll be able to find stuff more easily. Collibra University also has some great resources available for free. There's, for example, stuff related to data dictionaries, reference data, how to actually make good definitions, introductions to business glossaries, and so on. Other great free resources available are the website of Dataversity.net, where you can find loads of free articles, blog posts, podcasts, you name it, with content that actually covers things that are in the DMBOK. They also offer a paid training, but I have no experience with that. If you can't get enough of reading, there's actually a page on the DAMA International website that covers which books are referenced in the DMBOK. So per chapter you'll get an overview of all the authors, titles, and publishers that are being referenced. And the list is quite big, so have a look at the year at which things are published. These are the tips I wanted to share with you today. If you have any extra additional tips, feel free to put them in the comments, help the others out, and I wish you all the best with your exam.